And so the Lover's card is primarily about the Saturn energies of Binah. And so I'll talk a little bit about Binah, and then I will talk about other names of this path and this card. So Binah is the intelligence of God. And when you think of the word intelligence, that implies information, like intelligence agencies. It reflects the unity, Keter, and the wisdom, chockmah. So it reflects Keter and chockmah, the mother here, which are not able to be seen by themselves. So we have the imagery of the veiled goddess on the throne. And then so crossing this abyss and removing the veil and being able to see these higher energies and seeing them within. The wisdom of God is still concealed or hidden, but through Binah it becomes illuminated and intelligible. It is only through Binah that the divine wisdom is discerned and qualitatively determined, and then channeled through the 7 cosmological principles. Look at that as planets, chakras. As so to enter the creative ocean. This by no means indicates that Binah ever operates separately. This third Sephirah extends directly from Keter, the first, as does the second chockmah, and they act in unison, even though each has a different function. In this role, Binah plays the feminine role as mother, showing the world the wisdom of God. And so when you look on the tree as well, the highest energies from Keter is channeled down to Tiferet across the abyss as well through the High Priestess card. And the High Priestess card, of course, shows polarities. A lot of these cards show polarities of the black and white pillars. The god names of the sphere of Binah is El for Saturn, when you think of the word elder, or the elite of the Illuminati like to twist this. It is the Elohim, which is the gods. So the gods and the goddesses emanate from here. And you can communicate with them because, again, between the gods you have Hermes, the communicator or the messenger of the gods, as he would go between Zeus or between the gods themselves, or between Zeus and gods and humans. So, boom, communication. And down through your navel chakra. Now I want to show you a few cards. I'm going to show you, since we're talking about energetic centers first, and I said how in the sphere of Tiferet, I'm not sure if I said this, it's about knights and swords. And Binah is about queens and threes and cups. And so we have the Queen of Swords, so Queen of Swords, in this card. And it shows Nuit or Nepythys. And she has a starry cosmic mother. And there are 3 main energy bodies on her, and it is the throat or the crown upper chakra, the middle, which is the solar plexus, heart and genital area, and then she has one down by her feet. Now arguably, like Bearheart talked about, there are 4 energetic worlds, so you can go with that as well. It's fine. It's just more important that you get that there's communication here happening through your navel when you are doing the breathing. So much I need to say. I'm going to show you the Lover's card here, which is from the Heindel deck. You can see, again, the male and female, the 2 trees, which is the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You have this spear coming down here into light, which is very Taparathian. You have what looks like the devil up here above the woman, which I'll talk a little bit more about how the devil card relates. And then you have the rose above the man here. And of course, Bearheart talks about the rose and the thorn. There's the Rosicrucian order, and there's a hexagram on this card around the rose, and I'll be talking about that a little later. And you can see as well that the letter for this card is zain, which is Hebrew for sword, and there is the marking of Gemini on this card, which is the two pillars joined by two on each side. So, talking about communication of energy, it is also called, this path is also called the disposing intelligence. Disposing is like throwing something out. So the sword on this path definitely cuts away what is not needed, that is preventing ourselves from merging with our higher selves and is holding us back on our paths. Helps to reinvent ourselves. So we don't really kill our ego, but we you undergo a spiritual birth when you're initiated, so your old self is symbolically dies. As well as life comes from death, from Saturn. Disposing also means that you're busy, that you're disposed, so you're activated intelligence. Disposition is also like a personality trait, like somebody has a friendly disposition. Another name for this path is Children of the Oracle of the Gods, because oracle, again, is about communication, and then we have the child as well. Psychic gifts, intuition, the wordless voice in silence, your inner voice, the psychic communication, the path of discernment, and the sword of self and self-truth and knowing different energies. It is the reward of the saints to be clothed in light. It is the armor and the shield. It is from the spirit or the Shekinah of the Jews. So this was the Sabbath queen, which the Sabbath is Saturn's day, was the Shekinah or the spirit here. So it can be argued that they were early polytheists. This is the path of faith because you're granted a vision and you're granted power. That's why it's the reward of saints. It is the perfect love and trust of the Wiccans. It is logic in the service of the path. And when you think of logic, you think of the solar logos. And the path is dark. So again, when I talk later about the hermit, Virgoian type energies, okay, so I've seen one time when I was walking this path, I have seen Hermes. I'm not going to get into what actually happened to me. You need to go back and ask to see your earliest self. And that is all I'm going to say about this, because the rest, I don't know if I should talk about, that Bearheart talked to me about. When you align your body on the tree, your head is up here, and this is actually your right hand side because you back up and your face is here. So this will be, we're facing it, so it looks like it's on the left, but if you back up onto it, this is actually your sword hand, which is right dominant side, your power side, which is a sword hand. And that's another word for the zain, which is a sword on this path. And so when you align the tree with your body, there's also meditation that I'll be attaching, that you're going to see the navel solar chakra on your body, and that is you're going to create an orange beam up to the right hand side of your skull, and that will be a black area of Binah. And it's color orange on the path because orange is the color of logic and of Hermes, which is the sphere of Hod. It's all related. So the reason why I showed you that card that had the 3 energetic bodies on it was because 3 is the number of Binah. We have the thrice great Hermes. We have the triangle, which is 3-sided. And from the 3 comes the 4, which is physical manifestation, which is the Pythagorean mystery. When you have the alchemical skull that some people have on their altar, they have the symbol of Hermes of Mercury, the caduceus wand, on the front of the skull, and that's because the front of the brain is the campus of the brain where we do learning. And arguably our third eye is in the frontal midbrain area. Another word for this card is harmony, or the brothers vice virtue. I'll put in brackets good evil. It is the soul twins of anima and the animus. It is also called the foundation of excellence, foundation being another word for the moon, astral, and yesod, as well as Malkuth is the throne of Binah, and Saturn is Binah, and it rules Earth. This path is the understanding of beauty, or the beauty of understanding. It is the polarities of the emotional, intuitive woman and the rational, logical man. It is the yin-yang, the light-dark, the hot-cold, and the opposites of the moon and the sun, and the integration of the two. That is why Bearheart talked about us exploring our moon magic subconscious sign, whereas the sun is of personality. It is the macro and the microcosm and the joining of worlds. It is the external and the internal, as above, so below, so within, so without, our subconscious and our conscious, and all, as well as our higher self, which is the Cupid or the lover, as above, so below. So do you remember as well when Bearheart talked about I am a cherub, I am a child of Mars and Venus. It is the self and the other, or God and the human. It is the ideal and the illusion, or the real. It is the individual, and it is unity. The spirit is unifying. Binah is a paradox because she provides light as well. It is ending and beginning. It is the Virgin and the Temptress, or the Betty and the Veronica. So I'm going to break here before I go over time.